Prakash, we start, I
Yes,
think.
sure.
Yeah.
Namaste, everyone. Welcome to Advaita Vedanta Satsang House. The ongoing sessions are on Bhagavad Gita. We are on class number 14. And Binoji has been offering this from his own perspective of the different lineages. And so if you listen to the replay, you can catch up if you have not been following this, because I see few new members. So when you catch up on this, then today's class is going to be an intensive offering of continuing from yesterday. So just a reminder. And with that short introduction, let me say a few things about hand raising and chat will be closed. And this is going to be a very deep session. Over to you, Bindoji.
Thank you, Prakash. Namaste and welcome all. Let me do my invocation. Om Namo Brahma Dibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrabhyo Vamshrishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shrutismriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Guru Ratmedi Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Asmati Namaha. Bhagavad Gita Dhyana Shlokam. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudramarudaha Stunvandi Divyaistavai Vedai Sangapadakramopaniषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Continuing the commentary written by Shankaracharya on the verse 202.16. Nasato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate sata. Ubayorapi drishtantaus tattvadarshibhihi. So, asataha bhava na vidyate. Sataha abhavaha na vidyate. So this is what we have been discussing. So there, Shankaracharya mentioning that Yad Vishaya Buddhihi na vyabhicharati tat sat. Yad Vishaya Buddhi vyabhicharati tad asat. Iti sad asat vibhage buddhihi tat buddhitandre sthite samanadikarane dve buddhi sarvatra upalabhyate. Na lililolpalavat san ghataha san pataha san hasti iti eva sarvatra. Yad Vishaya Buddhi na vyabhicharati. Buddhi means intellect. Vishaya Buddhi means cognition. Buddhi which apprehends or cognizes the object. That is what is called Vishaya Buddhi. Na vyabhicharati, which do not deviate under any circumstances. Tat Sat, that is reality. That is the real. And the contrary is that the cognition where it deviates, it is called Asat. Therefore, there are two divisions, real and unreal, based on the capacity of the intellect to cognize the unchanging and cognize the changeable. Samanadikarane dve buddhi sarvatra upalabhyate. Which Samanadikarana, which we discussed in detail yesterday, That is what is it. Dve buddhi sarve sarvatra upalabhyate. There are two cognitions always happening. One cognition cannot happen independently because this which we explained it in the last class, that when we are knowing an object, the object is not real in the sense that it is something which has got a birth, existence and decay, death. But there is a aspect of that when we are experiencing an object, we say that the flower is, or the tree is, or the dog is, etc. So there is a aspect of existence which is depending upon the object. Now the existence is not depending upon the object. That is what we think. Whereas Shankaracharya very clearly says that it is the other way around. What is changing depends always on the unchanging. Therefore, the object depends upon the existence for its birth, existence and decay, death, or coming into existence at the time of experience when we are experiencing the object, and later when the object and the object and the sense organs contact goes, there is no contact with the object. So on all these cases, the object is variable or in the sense changing. That changes can be always known only if there is something which is changeless. Therefore, both of them have to be in the same substratum. That is what is called the Samanadhikaranam. In the Samanadhikaranam or in the substratum, we have two type of cognition. Dve buddhi sarvatra upalabhyate. One is about the object, second is about the existence of the object. But he also says, na nilol palavat. It is not like the blue lotus. The blue lotus is an adjective on the lotus. It can be red lotus or a white lotus or blue lily, white lily, anything like that. There the blueness and the whiteness is a quality of the object. Even there we have the cognition of the blueness and the whiteness. But that is depending upon the object only. But that existence of the blueness can be seen in anything, or the white can be seen in anything. So the whiteness or the blueness is not depend upon the lotus alone. Therefore, is categorizing that is not like the blue lotus. Na nilol palavat. But he says that sarvatra upalabhyate san ghataha, the pot exists. San pataha, the cloth exists. San hasti, the elephant exists. Iti sarva evam sarvatra. Everything in this experiential world of Jagrat, waking, this is the same. So when we say the tree is, the is aspect of the tree is what is called the sun here, sat. Sun means it's a neuter word. The same thing when it is in the masculine, we call it as sat. So, san pataha, san gataha, etc. In this manner, everywhere we have two cognition. Tayoho buddheo gadadi buddhi vyabhijarati tadacha darshitam natu sadbuddhi tasmat gadadi buddhi vishayaha asan vyabhicharat natu sadbuddhi vishayaha avyabhijarat. Tayoho buddhyoho, among the two cognition, between the two cognition, the cognition of the pot varies. And this was shown earlier, how it is tata darshitam. This is shown that it is varying the nature. Because the pot was not there, the pot was created, then we had the pot buddhi. And when the pot was destroyed, that pot buddhi also goes. The cognition of the pot also goes. So this was shown earlier in that pragabhava, pradvamsabhava aspect of it. Vikaro hi saha vikarascha vyabhijarati. Sarva vikaraha karana vyatirenekena anulabdher asat. So these are all vikaras. Vikaras means modifications. The mud, the lump of clay modified into pot. So there is nothing called potness. When we are experiencing the pot also, we are experiencing the mudness, not the potness. But we call it as a pot because of the vikara, of the shape and the form it is there. Vikara. That vikara vyabhijarati means that changes. The same lump of mud can be used for the, for the doll or for a lamp or anything. So it is mud which is experienced, not pot. Sarve vikaraha karana vyatirekena anupalabdhe rasan. All the vikaras or all the modifications which we see in the world, karana vyatirekena, without the cause, anupalabdheran asat. Anupalabdhehe asat. Without a cause, no modification is ever cognized. That means the entire world is a modification of some cause which is being experienced. And it is the cause which is being experienced in all the objects of the world, not the modification per se. But that modifications, when we experience it, we call it as pot, dog, tree, etc. Janma pradvamsabhyam pragurdam cha anupalabdehe karyasya ghadadehe. That example is being given, that the pot can never be obtained or cognized. Janma pradvamsabhyam pragurdam. Before the pot was created or after the pot was destroyed, the pot can never be cognized. But the existent cognition does not change. Sadbuddhi tu na vyabhijarati. The mud is, the pot is, now the pot has broken pieces are there. So when we are saying that aspect of cognition of existence is unchanging, even though independently that cannot be cognized, it can be cognized only through a medium or where the changing is taking place. The best example is that space. We cannot observe space or measure space or anything like that. There is no changes which we can see in a space. We may change a pot from one table to another table, we will say the pot space which is inside the pot has changed from one table to another table. But we cannot see the pot space changing. What we are seeing is the pot changing. Same way, the mud, the easiness of the mud, when it became the pot becomes the easiness. But the easiness has not gone through any change. The mud is same way we say the pot is. And when the pot is broken, we see the broken pieces, we say the broken pieces are there. Since Ghadadi Buddhi changes, Sadbuddhi does not change along with the Ghadadi Buddhi. Sadasad Vivage Buddhi Tantre Sthite. Because this cognition of Sat and Asat, both are being cognized by the cognition of the intellect. Tasmat Gadadi Buddhi Vishayaha Asad Vyavicharat. Therefore, the object of pot, etc., cognition does not really exist. They are not really exist means they are experienced, but they are not independently existing, because the cognition changes based on the fact that the object also changes. Yad vyabhijarati. What changes cannot be something which is real. But the object, which is in the form of existence cognition, is not going through any changes, because it is changeless when we are observing the existence of the independent things like mud, pot, and broken pieces. That doesn't go. Therefore, Shunyavada Prasanga does not occur. Means he is refusing that there is a Shunyata, that the existence is Shunyata as per the some people are arguing that does not occur. Ghada Vinishte, Ghada Buddhau, Vyabhichara Antyam, Vyabhichara Antyam, Sadbuddhirapi Vyabhicharati iti chet na. On the destruction of the pot, the cognition of the pot also changes. At that time, does the existence cognition also change? If this is the question, no. Padadau Adarshanath. This is not so. Because the experience of existence cognition also, with reference to the cloth, etc. Because when we say existence, we can never say existence has changed. The potness has gone to broken piece-ness. But the existence which is there in the mud has not undergone any change to the potness or the broken thing. The existent cognition is indeed in the form of an attribute to the object. There also, it is not destroyed. Even though we say that the existence of the pot, existence of the cloth, existence of the tree, existence of the dog, when we are saying that of, we are putting it as an attribution or what you call Visheshana Vishaya Eva Bhavati. Sa Sadbuddhi Visheshana Vishaya Eva Bhavati. Ataha Apina Vinashati. When we look into everything in this world, there is nothing which is ultimately going through a total annihilation. It may change from one aspect to another aspect. but nothing is ever becoming zero. The last place where it will be the thing that we cannot see, cognize beyond the sense organs also when it goes, we cannot say it has been destroyed. Because if we are not able to sense through the sense organ, therefore the objectification of that may cease to be cognized. But the existence is in the form of non-cognition of all the senses. So there is an existence there also. Ataha sadbuddhirapi nashte ghada na drishyate iti chet. Now there is a doubt. This is again one more question. Then similar to the existence cognition, the pot cognition is also seen in another pot. So you are saying the existence cognition is permanent. Pot cognition is varying. But I am saying the pot cognition is not on this particular pot, but that pot cognition is still there on another pot. Na padadau adarshanath. No. The pot cognition which is destroyed, pradvamsa, when it is broken, that is not seen anywhere else. For example, in a cloth or in a tree or in a dog or anything. Even in the broken pieces, it is not seen. Therefore, Ghadabuddhi avyabhijari na. Therefore, it is not seen in anywhere else. Sadbuddhi rabi nashte ghade na drishyate iti chet. The question is that, again, one more question. Nashte ghade sadbuddhi api na drishyate iti chet. Even the existent cognition is not seen with regard to the destroyed pot. So that he is now bringing not to the other pot, the same pot. The existence cognition cannot be seen in the regard to the destroyed pot because the pot is destroyed. Na, visheshya bhavat means ghada bhavat. Sadbuddhihi visheshana vishaya sati sangataha visheshya bhave ghada bhavat visheshana anupattau san upapattau sa kim vishaya sa buddhi sadbuddhihi syat tu punaha na sadbuddhehe vishaya bhavat. It's a long sentence. Let me break it up. So his answer category refusing that the pot, even the existent cognition is broken, is not seen with regard to the destroyed pot. No, because the absence of substantive noun, that is ghata, etc. The existence cognition being one of that objectifies the adjective, since the existence cognition has adjective as its content. That is, we are saying the pot is. So the objectify, the existence cognition is an adjective to that. When there is an absence of an object, there is an absence of adjective. In that case, existent cognition would be of which object? But the existent cognition is not found in that situation, not because the absence of object of, not because of the absence of object of existence cognition. Literally, however, it is not because the absence of the object of the existence cognition, even when existence cognition is not available for experience. Even when the potness is not available for experience, you cannot say existence consciousness or the Gadabuddhi or the potness experience. There, the pot is destroyed, but the easiness cannot be destroyed. That easiness may not be there in the potness as an adjective to the pot, but it is there as an isness to the broken pieces. Etka adhigaranatvam ghadadi visheshyabhave na yuktamidi chet. Now he is asking one more question. Because of the absence of the object of pot, etc., is it coexistence is illogical? Is it not illogical? How can an existent and non-existent have the samana adhigaranam? How can that both the isness and the pot experienced in the same place? When we experience the pot is. Also you say that the existence is an adjective to the existent objects. But you also say that the pot, etc., do not really exist. Then how can the existence which is real can be an adjective to an object which is unreal? Think. How can there be a real and unreal coexisting in the same place? Na. Shankaracharya is rejecting that. Idam udagam idi marityadau anyatara bhave api samanadigaranya darshanat. Even though there is absence of water in a desert, since this is water, we see a coexistence in this manner of two coexistence of sat and asat padartha, means real and unreal padartha. The desert is real, the water in the desert is unreal. But we call it as the mirage as a water in the desert. The mirage is actually non-existent water. But we call it as a desert water or mirage. This refers to the existent desert land, which is real. And udagam, water, refers to non-existent, which is empirical or asat in nature. Even so, both find samanadigaranyam in a statement, idam udagam. This is a doshaja adhyasa samanadigaranam. So, yesterday we discussed this. It is due to an illusion, doshaja. Tasmad dehadehe dvandasya cha sakaranasya asataha na vidyate bhavaha iti. Therefore, since there is a variation subject to coming and going, intrinsic existence of the body, etc., the pairs of opposite along with their cause, which are asat or mithya, because they exist temporarily, but in reality they do not exist. So this is a iti in this statement is a samapti suchaka. So there he is concluding that after opponent questions. Tada sadascha atmanaha abhavaha avidyamanata na vidyate sarvatra avibhirijadat iti avochama. Tada sataha cha atmanaha abhavaha. Similarly, as we mentioned earlier, there is no non-existence for reality of the existing Atma because of its invariability or unchanging nature everywhere as awareness or consciousness in everything at all times. Tasmat dehade asataha na vidyate bhava iti atras asataha na vidyate bhava nigamasthāniyam purvam pratikñāsthaniyam pratama pada vyakhyanasya samapti dyotaka iti shabdaha. In this manner, evam ubayo anayoho yatoktayoho sadasatoho atma anatmanoho api sat sadeva asat asadeva iti tu antaha nirnayaha tattvadarshibhihi drishtaha upalabhyate. In this manner, the knowers of the truth or Brahman have indeed arrived at the conclusion with the help of Shastra and Guru Vakyasya, Shastrasya Guru Vakyasya Satya Buddhi Avataranam, about the nature, true nature of the two as mentioned, really existent and not really existent. That is abhava rahitattvena sat, bhava rahitattvena asat, satyanritayoho, that is the real and unreal, of the self and the non-self, atmana, in the form of existence is real alone and mithya is unreal alone. Tadidi sarvanamaha, sarvam brahmcha brahma, tasya namaha tadidi, tadbhavaha tattvam, brahmanoho yata adhyatma, tat drishtum sheelam yesham te tattvadarshinaha, taihi tattvadarshibhihi. The word iti is a pronoun sarvanama. All means sarva as a part of sarvanama is Brahman. All is equal to Brahman. And its name is Brahman. Brahman Brihatvad Brahma. That is the name of everything. That is Tat. True nature of Brahman is Tattvam. Therefore, Tattvam is Tattvamasi Shvetaketo. Tattvamasi, when we are saying that Tattvam is Brahman, is what is the word Tat indicating to. People who have a habit of seeing this true nature of Brahman by the disposition in which they are called the Tattvadarshinaha. The seers of the truth. Tattvadarshinaha. Wise people. By those wise people, the conclusion regarding Sat and Asat are very well seen. Tvam api tattvadarshinaam drishtim asritya shokam moham cha hitva sitoshnadini niyata niyata rupani dvandvani vikaraha ayam asadneva marichi jalam iva mithya bhava asatehe vikaroyam asanneva marichi jala vat mithya bhava asate iti manasi vijitya nischitya titikshasva ityaviprayaha. Shankaracharya is saying this is the intention of Krishna. What is that? Tvam api tattvadarsinam drishtim asritya. You would also accept the pairs of opposite, such as experiences of cold and heat, happiness and sorrow, etc., which of definite and indefinite nature, having resorted to the vision of Satya Mithya Viveka, of the wise people, having been free from delusion and grief, and having very well ascertained in the mind, in this manner, this pairs of opposite is a product and it is born, it is mithya alone. It appears falsely like a mirage water. You may accept them spontaneously. This is the intention of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. So here, Shankaracharya is concluding the explanation for that. Nasato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate sada. The end word is tattvadarshibhihi. By the wise people, they have come to the conclusion of that reality in this manner that there are two aspects, the real and unreal in all our experiences. All experiences, whether it is waking, dream or deep sleep, has got both the aspects. One is the changeless knower, which knows that waking, dream and deep sleep is changing and happening. And the other one is the knower who knows that I am the same person who has gone through the waking, dream and deep sleep, but not as an individuality, because the individuality is not there in the deep sleep. No name, place, space, time, causation, nothing was there in the deep sleep. So we cannot say that the same person, but the knower remained the same. The knower has no name, no body, no mind, no intellect, because the mind and intellect was not functioning in the deep sleep. So tattvadarshibhihi, who have seen the tattvam or seen the reality, they have come to the conclusion that whenever there is an experience, that happens only in the Jagrat and Swapna. Whenever there is an experience, the experience has got both the aspect, the Atma or Brahman, which is the knower, in the presence of which knowing takes place. The knowing is an act through the contact of the senses and the sense objects. And the senses and the sense object, the gross ones are working in the waking and the subtle ones are working in the dream. Both the places, it is the sense objects which are contacting with the objects, but the knowing is supervised or presided over in the presence of the knower, who is the Atma or Brahman. So this is the summary of what Krishna wanted to convey in the verse 216. There have been different opinions about this by Madhvacharya and Ramanuja. Madhvacharya is asking the question about what is eternal. So he is answering that it has been stated that the self is eternal, but is the self alone eternal, or is there something else as well? If something else, then what is it? Krishna says that na asataha, of the non-existent. He is saying that even the non-existent is real. There is no non-existent of the existent cause, namely Brahman. This is from the scriptural statement. He is quoting Vishnu Purana, where it says that neither Prakriti nor Purusha has non-existence and time. O best one is eternal. So in the Vishnu Purana says that Prakriti, Purusha and time are eternal. So that is what he is holding on to, saying that Krishna is saying Nasataha means even the non-existence is eternal in his definition. Pritak Vidyate means exists separately. This is for the sake of emphasis in the respect that Pritak Vidyate, in that word in the Vishnu Purana, it says that Pritak Vidyate, Prakritin Purusha and Kala is eternal, Pritak Vidyate. On the causality of the non-existent, now he is answering that aspect. The causality of the non-existent, that asataha karanatvam. is in the Bhagavata. Now he is taking another Purana, Bhagavata, in the form of both existent and non-existent being composed of guna. The all-pervading one is beyond gunas. And also, even in the Upanishad, from the non-existent, the existent is born. Asataha saddajayate. This is his quoting to Chandogya Upanishad. And also from statements above, the unmanifest, avyakta, avyaktani bhutani. From avyakta, the bhutas are coming, is the Bhagavad Gita. So he is saying that the non-existent is the cause for existence. Okay? And he is saying these are all established through tradition. And Krishna says, Ubhayorapi, both indeed, is to indicate that this teaching is established through sampradaya, traditional and lineage and transmission of knowledge. And antaha means nirnayaha. Nirnayaha means definite conclusion. Antaha tattvadarshibhihi is what the last sentence is saying that. So there the word antaha is mean not end. He is saying that it is nirnaya. It means affirmation or conclusion or determination. That is his way of seeing the meanings in the sloka of 260, Nasato Vidyate. Whereas what Shankaracharya saw is Atma and Anatma. Atma means object, all the objects. Atma is eternal and everything else is changing, therefore not eternal. The key philosophical point raised by Madhvacharya is that is only the self is eternal or are there other eternal things too? And he is giving Vishnu Purana as his support. Prakriti, Purusha, Kalaha are eternal. And he is addressing the paradox. The non-existent Asat can be a causal in that form. Brahman appears both Sat and Asat. Advaitin, when they say that Sadasat Vilakshana, it is neither Sat nor Asat. Madhvacharya says Brahman is both Sat and Asat. The unmanifest, Avyakta, is non-existent from empirical view, but is the source for existence of the empirical world. He is quoting the Bhagavad Gita there. And the Sampradaya, what he is referring is the teaching has been not my teaching. It has been verified through traditional lineage and it's not a mere speculation. And about the Anta is discussed about it. This shows the commentary is, grappling with Advaita, cosmology, Purana, and relationship between being and non-being, and non-existent giving rise to existence. All these are what is we can see in Madhvacharya's commentaries. Ramanuja goes a bit differently. Definitive conclusion about the body and self. He is differentiating between the body and the self. Of the non-existent body, there is no existence, sadbhavaha. And the existent self, there is no non-existence, asat bhavaha. Of both the body and the self, which are perceived, the antaha, the conclusion or the reality, has been seen by the seers of the truth according to how they are perceived. So he is saying that the conclusion is seen by the perceivers according to how they perceive it. The question can come, how? Because examination leads to definitive conclusion, nirnaya. The word anda here means nirnaya, determination. The meaning is, definitive conclusion has been seen that non-existent asattva is the very nature of the body, which is insentient matter, jadaha, and existence, satta, is the very nature of the self, which is consciousness. So here he is partly agreeing with Advaitin, but partly agreeing with Madhvacharya. The nature of existence and non-existence, Ramanujacharya says that for destructibility of non-existent, asattva, and the indestructibility of existence, sattva, as stated by the Venerable Parashara in Vishnu Purana. He is quoting a lot of Vishnu Purana here also. He is also quoting from Vishnu Purana. He is not quoting anything from the Upanishads. Therefore, without consciousness, there is no entity anywhere at any time, O Dvijaha, twice born. Vishnu Purana 2:12-43. Thus has the existence been declared by me to you. Knowledge is real, anything else is unreal. Again, Vishnu Purana 2:12-45. The imperishable ultimate reality is accepted by the wise, but that which is perishable, there is no doubt, is established in a perishable substance. This again, Vishnu Purana 2:14-24. And one more from Vishnu Purana. That which even over times does not acquire another designation arising from transformation, etc. That substance, O king, what is it? So this is a question which is being asked in the Vishnu Purana. That which does not change over time and does not acquire another designation. What is that? In the Vishnu Purana, the answer is Vishnu. Here also, in the Bhagavad Gita also, he is quoting now, it is stated that these bodies are finite. In the next two more verses it will come. And know that to be indestructible in 2:17, 2:18 and 2:17. It is understood that the very distinction is the reason for the designation of existence and non-existence. He is refusing the Satkaryavada of the Sankhya here. However, because Satkaryavada were the theory that the effect pre-exists in the cause, the mudness and the potness was present in the lump of mud, is the Satkaryavada. It was not visible or for the sense organs, but when it was formed by the potter, the mud exposed the visibility in the shape of a pot. That is what the Satkaryavada. So he says that is inappropriate. This verse does not relate to the theory of Satkaryavada. Because one who is deluded by ignorance about the nature of body and the self, for pacification of that delusion, only the discrimination of the nature of both destructibility of the body and indestructibility of the self is being taught. It's only for the purpose of pacification for the deluded, for the ignorant. This is being taught. But not the way in which the Sankhya philosophy is saying that the potness is in the lump of mud. Bringing a contextual continuity, he says that very teaching was introduced in the wise do not grieve in the living or the dead. Nanu shochanti pandita. That same teaching is subsequently established in know that it to be indestructible. The next verse, 2:17, it will come. These bodies are finite in the 2:18. Therefore, the meaning is exactly as stated in our interpretation. But how is indestructibility of the self established is explained in the next two verses. This is how Ramanuja concludes it. So the core points of Ramanuja is that distinction, body, perishable, non-existent, self is imperishable, existence. Sattva versus asattva, the true existence, indestructibility, non-existence is destructibility. Multiple scriptural proofs from the Vishnu Purana supporting his view. He is not quoting anything from other than Vishnu Purana and Bhagavatam. Rejecting the Sankhya philosophy, he is saying that this verse is for removing the delusion. And this verse connects 2:11 to 2:18. This is the verse which is in between. Therefore, it connects between 2:11, which we started, Ashocyananya Shochastum. From there up to the 2:18, which we will be seeing the next two verses. So he said the commentary emphasizes that understanding of this fundamental distinction between the self, eternal self, and the temporary body is required for the ignorance or delusion to be the cause for grief and ending that. Now, Abhinava Gupta in the Kashmiri Shaivism says that about grieving for the changing states, Nanu Shochanti Pandita. So, what is that? But surely, precisely because all states come and go, they are the causes of the grief. Not so. Why? Because what is coming, Agama, if you say it is arising birth, Utpatti, then what is that arising? If you say it is acquisition of Atman or existence from non-existent, that is impossible. Asat can never become Sat. That is what he is shortly refusing that. This Atma has existence and that has come from non-existence is not possible. Because being of non-existent nature, asatta swabhavata, is being without nature, nishswabhavata. Being without self, niratmata. How can that which is without the self, without the nature, be made to have a nature? For that which is not blue cannot be made blue, because acquiring a different nature is faulty or impossible. And scripture says that the nature of things do not transform like the heat of the fire. The heat of the fire do not change. So the nature of things also do not change. The fire will be always hot. Same way, the nature of vastu swabhava kadapi na vyabhicharati. The nature of the objects will never change. If arising from existence, now if it is arising out of existence, if the acquisition of Atman or existence is arising from existence, then since it has already acquired existence, it would be eternal due to never having a non-existence at any point of time. So what is grievable about the Agama? Agama Payino Nityam, that 211 is what he is referring to. So the Atman is existence always, Sat Chit Ananda. So it is not going to acquire existence, something new. That means the existence is eternal in Atma. So there is no need to grieve about the Atma also. Now going, Apaya, Agama Payino Nityam, that destruction aspect is. Similarly, Apaya, if it is the destruction of the existent or the non-existent, that is a question. It's a question mark for it. If the non-existent, it is already non-existent, so there is no apaya for it. But how can that which has existence and its nature is have but how can that which has existence as its nature have non-existence as its nature? If you say in the second moment it has non-existence as its nature, then it would be so in the first moment too, and thus no entity would exist due to abandoning its own nature all the time. Is referring to the Kshanika Vijnanavada, where it is changing every moment. So he is saying that it is abandoning every moment its nature, so there is nothing permanent in it. So it is proven that it is non-existent because nothing is existing there. Everything is changing. So it is on that also you need not grieve over. But its destruction is affected by hammer, blow, etc. in the case of pot. If that destruction is different from the entity, where has the entity gone? Where did the pot go when the hammer fell on the mud pot? You may say it is not seen. The reply is that let it not be seen, but that doesn't mean it has become otherwise, like cloth. The pot, when it is broken, it doesn't become cloth. So it is not becoming something separate. But it has already been stated that destruction is not separate from the entity. So he is saying that in all these three ways, existence is permanent and non-existence is never there. So arising, utpatti is impossible. If it from non-existence, nothing can acquire If it is from existence, it is already existent, eternal. Now destruction is impossible. If the non-existent is destroyed, it's already non-existent, so there is no need of destruction. If the existent is destroyed, contradicts the having the existence as its essential nature. The existence can never be destroyed. Swabhava, the essential nature cannot change. This is just as a fire cannot lose its heat, entities cannot lose their essential nature. So Atma or Brahman or the existence can never lose its nature of existence. External causation doesn't work. Like the hammer cannot make a pot a cloth. So these things will not work. So it is, the reasoning is this, the whole thing is that this argument is sophisticated in the eternity, likely preparing to establish an eternal nature of the self. The reasoning anticipates Nagarjuna style arguments about causation while maintaining a Vedantic position. He is basically preparing, at that time Shankaracharya was not there, not was Shankaracharya's commentaries were there. So for Abhinavagupta, the opponent was Nagarjuna style of Pandits who are from the Buddhist tradition. Kim punastat yat sadeva sarvada iti uchyate. Avinashi tu tadvidhi yena sarvamidam tadam vinasham avyayasyasya na kaschit kartum arhati. The 17th verse. We will see that on Monday. Tomorrow we will have the question answers regarding Bhagavad Gita. I'll stop it here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyawad.
Thank you very much, Bendoji. Very profound dissection of
Heard
what others
Prakash.
they talk about perception and cognition.
Prakash, your voice is not heard.
Oh, let me restart.
Prakash, are you there? I think some issue with his mobile.
Is it
Or
better now?
yeah, it's better now. Yeah,
Is it okay now?
yeah, it's
Okay,
okay now.
okay. Sorry, yeah. Yes, yes. I've opened the hand raising and chat, but I just wanted to say this, your class from yesterday to today is a very profound dissection of experience and the witness state. I will definitely listen to the replay a few times to get the whole very, very profound, Bindoji. Thank you very much. I've opened the chat and the hand raising.
Thank you, Prakash.
Yes.
I think people will have to listen to the again
But I just wanted to
before
just,
asking. Tomorrow,
without any,
tomorrow you can ask the questions.
sure.
Yeah, you can ask Prakash.
Uh,
Prakash, go ahead. You can ask.
just just for my own satisfaction, because it's so clear.
Yep.
But the transition is from the experience of objects to the observation of the very nature of experience to the witness of the antakarana itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see, here we have both the aspect, the antakarana, which is apparently cognizing the things because of the input from the sense organs, which is in contact with the objects. But we all think that antakarana is the one which is knowing. The knowing is the nature of the self, Sat and Chit. Antakarana is a jada. In the presence of Atma, the antakarana acquires the illumining nature of the self to illumine the contact of the sense organs and the sense objects. And it thinks that the knowing is happening at the intellectual level or the antakarana level. But actually speaking, it is the reflection of the what you call antaryami or the self, where the light of knowledge or the knowledge itself is shining from. It is just like that a mirror. We are looking at the mirror and say, I am able to see my face. The mirror is a medium to reflect. If mirror is able to reflect or show our face, it should be able to show it in the darkness also. But that is not happening so. Only in the presence of light, the mirror is able to reflect. But what is it reflecting? The rays which is going from our face to the mirror is reflected back to our eyes for it to have the contact with the sense organ. So, the mirror is the intellect or antakarana. The face is the object. And the sense organ is our own eyes, which is seeing our face in the mirror. But the knowing is not taking place in the mirror. The seeing is taking place because of the seer who has the knowledge of the seeing. The knowing is not in the mirror, but in the one who is observing it. Same way, we have to understand that any experience which is happening is not known by the antakarana. The antakarana is always present there as a part of the body. But the antakarana can only cognize if only when the Atma or the Chaitanya or the Chit, Satchitananda is blessing it or present in it. That is why we are sometimes not able to cognize it. Some inputs which are coming, we are unable to cognize it.
Yes, thank you, Binduji. That from the insight to the continuous, the Sthita Prajna. Very beautifully explained. Thank you, Binduji. I think we have Venkatji and Srinivas here.
Namaste, Venkat.
Srini, go ahead or I can wait.
Yeah, namaste. Very small question. I actually want to elaborate tomorrow, but just
Yeah.
don't forget. So I just wanted to ask a small bit. So I think in Taittiriya Upanishad, there was a story about a man and his master, right? A master calls his man as "you're not human," and this guy goes and keeps asking everybody, "If I'm not human, then who am I?" or something like that. Now, is that relatable to this Asat Buddhi and Sat Buddhi concept you are explaining? I felt it is something similar. Is that correct?
No. That is a different example altogether.
Okay, so that is not in this context of Sat Buddhi.
Not in this context, no.
Oh, okay. Now that's what I wanted to check. Thanks, Bindu.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Venkat.
Binduji, that sama is that you said, I'll use the right word.
Your voice is breaking. Voice is breaking.
Samanadikarana darshanat. Can you hear me now?
Samanadikarana darshana.
Yeah, that means the buddhi is given that separation potential. Hence, it can use the existence plus the variation, right? Vabicharat. Any variations of on top of it. It is given that charge of separation. That means it has that knowing of Sat portion, right? Unchanging Sat versus changing is available to Buddhi. This means that whole validation of knowledge is available to Buddhi. Correct, Binduji?
Venkat, when you use buddhi, Chaitanya Upahita Buddhi, you have to say that way. In the presence of the Chaitanya. Otherwise, buddhi is also like jada, like any other object. So the cognition can happen only in the presence of Chaitanya. And the knowing seems to be happening in the buddhi, but actually it is not happening in the buddhi. But it is, I mean, if I think I'll explain that tomorrow more vividly. The simple thing is that the knowing is not an activity of self. It is the nature of self. Like the heat of fire or the light of the sun. It is that with which we are able to call it by that. We call it the sunlight or the heat of the fire, like that. But can you have the fire which is not having heat, even with slightest heat? No.
That's perfect, Balaji.
So buddhi, which is seeing, it cannot see the existence. It can only know about existence on which the changing pot or cloth or anything is perceived or cognized. It cannot cognize without pot or a cloth or an object the existence alone. No, that is not possible. Like I was saying yesterday to Anu, the existence like the space, you cannot see the space alone. You need an object in the space to specify that is the space used by the object. Same way, it is an attribution or an adjective used for the object, but the substratum is the knowledge of both existence and the pot. That is the substratum. That substratum is the knowledge. The cognition is an activity. Right?
No, this is perfect, Balaji. I'll tell you why I'm asking this question. So, we did refer Kashmiri Shaivism. Apparently, I got initiated, while getting into this, as we progressed. There is a separation called Shuddha Vidya and Ashuddha Vidya. The Shuddha Tattva, Ashuddha Tattva. That's also a way to look at it. The buddhi without influence of ego is Shuddha Vidya. With they call Kanchukas. There are 6 Kanchukas. That is the limitations that is imposed on buddhi. That, the limitation of place, limitation of time, limitation of attachment, limitation of knowledge, and creativity, that whole imagination, and illusion of individuality. So these are imposed on it. Once one who can see these limitations altogether, right? All these limitations are imposed. And then that Shuddha Vidya means that I-ness, right? That abhav, the bhava, abhava both. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satha. That bhava is also seen. Bhava, abhava, both are seen in the buddhi. So this is called Shuddha Vidya, the Shuddha Tattva. So that means for buddhi without influence of ego has this knowledge available, but it's okay. It's not that, you need to claim that, I know everything. No. It's just that Shuddha Vidya is available at the level of buddhi. And it can even recognize, because it is no different than Brahman. It is like a mirror. It's called Pratibimba Vada. It's also another Vada there, where the buddhi is like an intelligent mirror, a knowing mirror. There is a story of knowing mirror. That mirror says, who is the most beautiful in the world? It was telling this, witch that you are beautiful, and the moment there is a daughter born to the king, she became beautiful. So the mirror was an intelligent mirror. This is like a knowing mirror. So there is nothing to be known, just that that Pratibimba Vada brings that whatever is appearing is simply reflected. That whatever appearing cannot be ever known. Just that knowing is possible. Only the mirror is possible. Nothing else is possible. That's the foundation of,
Yep.
any, like there is a Prakasha and Vimarsha in
In Vedanta
Kashmiri
we call it
Shaivism.
as in Vedanta we call it as Tattvadarshi, the knower of the truth.
Tattvadarshi. Yeah. That's the only availability for buddhi. There's nothing else. So that's called Shuddha Vidya. This is the one where I get a clarity in terms of, entire description is perfect. Just that there's one shift, which is Shuddha Vidya, Ashuddha Vidya. The Shuddha Tattva, Ashuddha Tattva. The Shuddha Tattva is available to buddhi. Then
Right.
we can go further on it. There are other things I think we don't need. That's out of scope of the discussion.
Yeah.
I see that buddhi is used very willfully here.
That's right. Ganesh Prasad, you have to go out and or touch your profile picture and see whether you can get invited. We have been accepting your invite, your hand raising. We have been inviting you, but somehow that it doesn't work. Either you have to go out and come back, or else you touch your profile picture and see whether you can join. Divyansh, your question in the chat, हम यहाँ अद्वैत का भगवद गीता के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. ये रूम अंग्रेजी में ही चलेगा, हिंदी में नहीं होता है, इसलिए तो दिक्कत है आपको हिंदी में जवाब देने के लिए. So please understand that. We cannot change for your sake, because all of us others are listening in English. Ganesh Prasad is not able to come. No. Anyway, Ganesh Prasad, tomorrow we can go tomorrow.
I think if Ganesh Prasad ji exits the room and comes back, the app and tries to come back, it might work.
Binduji, the whole 2.16 is over or something pending still for Monday?
No, if you want, I can make a synopsis of the complete Shankaracharya's thing without reading the Sanskrit part of it. So
that will be great.
Yeah, I'll do that on Monday.
Maybe tomorrow also, maybe in QA, but some 5 minutes you can just give a brief summary. Then we can start QA. Or,
Okay, Ganesh Prasad, tomorrow we'll talk your question. We have you are not able to come. Okay.
Thanks
Let us
everyone for coming.
close.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Thank you very much, Midhoji, for that profound insight into the nature of reality and how one can do the deep manana around that. So these two rooms are a compendium by itself which has to be unfolded in our practice. Thank you very much. Thanks everyone for coming up and asking questions and participating as members of the club of the house. Tomorrow it is an open discussion on Bhagavad Gita offered by Binduji, starting again at 8:30 p.m. IST. So hope to see you all there. Thank you, Binduji. Over to you.
Thank you, Prakash, Venkat, Srini. And tomorrow being a Q&A for Gita, unless warranted, we may stop at 9:30, or if there is questions and this thing, then we'll go up to 10 o'clock. As when the questions stop, we'll stop the class. That's how we'll be doing it. So come prepared, ask as many questions as you want, so that we'll all be benefited by it. Because my brain alone cannot churn out everything. When you ask questions like Venkat, Srini, or Ganesh Prasad, or anybody for that matter, Anu, when you ask questions, I am also, forced to see it from the point of view of the knowledge which I have acquired. So I have to also apply that knowledge. What will happen in such a situation when I answer it? What will happen if it had been like this? So when that question is interactive that way, everybody gets benefited. I am also getting benefited by that. You are also getting benefited, and those who listeners also are getting benefited. So please come up and ask. It is not that I have answers for every question. I know where I don't know. I will be very clear that I don't know the answer. Thank you all. See you tomorrow. Hari Om.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.